My novel about a secret high school crush went totally viral, and the film rights were snapped up almost immediately. Then, Sterling, an Oscar-winning actor who had stepped away from Hollywood for years, suddenly dropped a bombshell on Twitter, announcing he was taking the male lead. The internet exploded. Netizens quickly dug up the fact that Cole had a one that got away back in high school. And the rising it girl cast as the female lead? She just so happened to graduate from Westbridge High, too. Overnight, the shippers lost their minds. The whole internet was waiting for this second-chance romance novel to bleed into reality. At the press conference, a reporter deliberately asked, "Mr. Sterling, if you had to choose a word to describe our leading lady, what would it be? An angel? A muse?" Cole suddenly raised his eyes, looked directly at me standing in the wings, and said coldly, "A liar." "Excuse me?" The reporter froze. Cole calmly looked away. I said, "She's a liar." The table read. In the original book, the two leads clearly love each other. "Why did they have a tragic ending?" someone whispered at the table. Cole's fingertips traced heavily over the script page. He spoke coldly. "I'm quite curious about that myself." I looked up in shock, then quickly lowered my head. Cole didn't push the question. His gaze returned to the script. I shifted further into the corner, clutching my phone, trying to make myself invisible. Twitter was melting down. Under the trending hashtags #ColeSterlingReturns and #SecondChanceCast, a blurry high school yearbook photo was being reposted thousands of times. In the photo, a 17-year-old Cole was ignoring the camera, his intense gaze fixed on a specific spot off-screen. And in that blurry, out-of-focus corner of the frame was the slender back of a teenage girl. This is definitely not a coincidence. Cole and Sierra Fontaine both went to Westbridge High. I remember Sierra had short hair in high school. That girl has to be her. Fiction becoming reality. I'm screaming, I shipped them so hard. The assistant director sitting next to me nudged my elbow, winking like a gossip. "Are you shipping them too?" "No, I just happened to see it on my timeline." "Wait, I just remembered you went to Westbridge High too. Tell me, did the A-lister really have a crush on a girl back then?" I quietly locked my phone screen and looked up. Cole and we weren't close. Right at that moment, the director called cut. Cole lifted his heavy eyelids. Across the crowded room, his eyes locked onto mine. The director hesitated. "Cole, your energy is a bit off here. This is their big reunion scene. The way you look at the female lead should be a mix of love and burning resentment. Harper, wouldn't you agree?" I hurriedly looked away and cleared my throat. Yes. Harper, as the screenwriter, I feel the emotional beat here, is wrong. Cole smirked, but his eyes were pure ice. "Why don't you teach me?" Everyone's eyes slammed into me. The director chimed in. "Sierra's flight was delayed. She's not here yet. Harper, why don't you stand in and run the lines with him?" "I don't think that's appropriate. I don't know how to act." I waved my hands, forcing an awkward smile. Cole spoke flatly. "I have an interview tonight. I'm on a tight schedule." Eager to please him, the director shoved my shoulder, urging me up with his eyes. I was forced to stand. Cole instantly closed the distance between us. The script clearly said the male lead grabs the female lead's wrist. Instead, his hand clamped around the back of my neck. He pulled me in, whispering harshly against my ear. "When you dumped me, you didn't have this pathetic look on your face, did you? If I recall correctly, you were smiling." My breath hitched. The script slipped from my hands, hitting the floor with a smack. Maybe the AC was turned too low, but I felt my entire body trembling. "Why did you leave back then?" He pulled back slightly, his dialogue completely deviating from the script. "Answer me." Cole pinned me against the wall, his hands slamming on either side of my head. His knuckles were white from the force. His chest was heaving as if a fire was burning through his ribs. My heart stuttered. My eyelashes fluttered wildly. "I'm sorry." Cole's Adam's apple bobbed. He forcibly swallowed the emotions that were threatening to tear his chest apart. "I'm only going to ask you one thing. Did you ever actually love me?" He gritted out, his eyes rimmed red. The room held its breath. The director yelled from the monitors. Yes, that's the energy. Hold on to that, Cole. I opened my mouth, my throat bone dry. The red light on the camera suddenly flipped on. The heavy doors swung open, and Sierra Fontaine walked in with her entourage. The courage I had just mustered to speak was instantly shattered. I am so sorry I'm late, Sierra chimed. I bought artisanal lattes for everyone to make up for it. The director pulled off his headphones. All right, we'll stop there for now. That take was absolutely perfect. The crew cheered and swarmed the new arrivals. I was still frozen against the wall, my chest hollow. Cole suddenly chuckled. His thumb casually brushed against the small red birthmark on the side of my neck. Back in high school, he always joked that even in our next life, he would be able to find me by this exact mark. Now, his warm breath fanned across that very spot. Screenwriter Harper. Acting like that feels much more real, doesn't it? I snapped back to reality and sluggishly took a half step back. You? You look so familiar. Sierra's gaze stopped the moment it swept over me. Have we met before? I stared back at her. A long time ago. Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I must have forgotten. Sierra shrugged, not caring in the slightest. Want a latte? It's hot. She casually grabbed a cup and handed it to me. I instinctively flinched, pulling my neck back. My face went chalk white. Are you feeling okay? She asked. I'm fine. Just been standing too long. Make sure you get some rest. If you need any meds, just ask my assistant. My trailer is fully stocked. She turned her back to me, pulled a separate insulated bag from her assistant, and walked toward Cole with a bright smile. Your coffee. The usual. Cold brew, no ice. Just a few words, but it practically screamed intimacy. Thanks. As Cole stepped back to take it, I caught sight of the diamond ring on Sierra's ring finger. It was the exact same design as the one the paparazzi had caught Cole buying at a luxury jeweler just days ago. The assistant director leaned over to me, letting out a suppressed squeal and shaking my shoulders. That coffee shop is all the way downtown. The line takes 2 hours minimum. OMG. Her flight was delayed, and she still went out of her way to get him his specific drink. Harper. I knew my ship was real. Tell me the truth, are they the inspiration for your novel? At the press con, he already admitted he's the male lead. Stop keeping us in suspense. I lowered my eyes and said softly, if I told you the female lead was actually based on me, would you believe it? The AD let out a loud, huh? Harper, I didn't know you were one of his delusional fangirls. No wonder you don't ship them. I watched their matching silhouettes under the studio spotlights, suddenly grateful I hadn't blurted out the truth in the heat of the moment. The gap between us was too vast. Even the truth sounded like a pathetic joke. Well, at least you got to meet your crush. Oh, right. What did Cole mean at the press conference when he called you a liar? Was that just a PR stunt to build hype? I took a deep breath, trying to hide the tremor in my voice. He wasn't lying. 10 years ago, I really was the one who lied to him first. Sierra had to reshoot a drowning scene. A stunt double? The director frowned. This is the climax where the female lead gets bullied. We need your face. Sierra's manager immediately changed her tune. Director, Sierra is getting her period soon. Putting her in freezing water for the next 2 days will be agonizing for her. But we didn't prep a water stunt double. Finding one now will put us behind schedule. Sierra tugged on her assistant's hand and turned to the director. Director, my manager is just worried about me. Please forgive her tone. How about this? I'll suck it up and do the close-ups in the water. Sierra looked me up and down. For the wide shots of the actual drowning, let the screenwriter stand in for me. She's the only one here with a similar build. Her manager chimed in coldly. Director, Cole only signed onto this project for Sierra. If she gets sick, can you take responsibility? Classic good cop, bad cop. The director looked torn. I still need to ask Harper if she's comfortable with it. Sierra smiled sweetly at me. Please, Harper? Pretty please? I heard you helped run lines with Cole the other day. Why won't you help me? Are you trying to isolate me? I'm sorry, I'm not a trained professional. Going on camera isn't appropriate. It's fine, it's just a wide shot. I'll teach you. Sierra stood up from her director's chair. She approached me with a beaming smile and suddenly shoved me hard in the chest. Caught completely off guard, I lost my balance and plunged backward into the pool. The deep autumn water felt like a million icy needles. The moment I went under, the memory overlapped with that day I was 17, being violently shoved into the deep end of the high school pool. Blind panic swallowed me whole. I thrashed wildly, but my limbs felt bound by invisible ropes, heavy and useless. Water rushed in from everywhere, filling my nose, ears, and throat. Sierra's delighted laughter grew muffled and distorted. The director realized something was wrong and signaled the lifeguard, but Sierra stopped him. Wow, she's such a good actress. It looks so real. The world blurred. The light cutting through the surface of the water shattered like broken glass across my vision. Right as I was on the brink of suffocating, Sierra grabbed a fistful of my hair and hauled my head above the surface. She leaned in close to my ear and smiled. Don't think I don't know what you cheap sluts are plotting. Stay away from Cole. Or next time, I'll actually kill you. My lungs burned like they were on fire. I coughed violently, unable to string a single word together. Harper, are you okay? Sierra shoved my head back under the water, giggling. Director, don't yell cut. You'll ruin her performance. Let's get one more take for safety. I sucked in a desperate breath, grabbed her wrists with both hands, and yanked her down into the pool with me. Help dash. Sierra tried to scream, but only spat out a string of bubbles. Quick, the life preserver. Sierra can't swim. Somebody help. Sierra's drowning. The crew on the deck erupted into chaos. I locked my arms around Sierra and refused to let go. Over the frantic footsteps, I heard a crew member's shocked voice. Why is Mr. Sterling back from his press tour early? Wait, Cole. You can't jump in? Sierra kicked me hard. Cole, I'm over here dash. The heel of her designer boot dug into my stomach. A piercing pain shot through me. I sank deeper, my consciousness slipping away into the dark. The sharp smell of antiseptic invaded my nose. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was the champagne gold curtains of Cole's private trailer. You're awake. He immediately reached out to check my forehead. Your fever hasn't broken. I'll have the set medic come back. Don't bother. I tried to sit up, only to realize his other hand was pinning down my right wrist, the one with the foredrip, right over the faded, circular burn scar left by Sierra putting out a cigarette on my skin years ago. The doctor said you have old injuries all over your body, not just this one. He suddenly spoke. What exactly happened back then? My breathing stopped. My memory rewound to that suffocating, humid afternoon. Curled up inside a metal locker in the girls' changing room, counting the slivers of light coming through the vents, listening to Sierra and her squad discuss how they were going to teach me a lesson in the deep end of the pool. Cole's crucial Juilliard audition was in 2 days. Because of that, I chose to hide my soaked, ruined uniform at the very bottom of my backpack and say nothing. You're overthinking it. I heard my own voice trembling. The air in the trailer instantly froze. Cole aggressively grabbed my chin, his grip so tight it felt like he might shatter the bone. A dark storm raged in his eyes. The calm, refined facade he wore for the public completely shattered. Harper Ellis, what the hell do you take me for? I looked at the shiny new ring impression on his ring finger and suddenly let out a laugh. I laughed so hard the salty taste of tears slid into the corner of my mouth. In what capacity are you interrogating me right now, Mr. Sterling? My ex-boyfriend? Someone else's fiancé? Or an A-list actor handing out charity? His pupils contracted sharply. What the hell are you talking about? The moment he let go of my chin, the trailer door burst open. Cole. Sierra rushed in, wrapped in a plush blanket, pathetic, beautiful tears hanging from her lashes. I thought I was never going to see you again. The diamond ring on her finger caught the light, stinging my retinas. Why did the screenwriter drag me into the water? She exposed the purpling bruises on her pale arms. Did I do something wrong? Did I make her mad? Security footage. I interrupted her sobbing. The set has 24-hour surveillance. Sierra's crying abruptly stopped. She stared at me for a few seconds, then grabbed a fruit knife from the counter, held it to her wrist, and looked at Cole with tear-soaked eyes. The camera in that area has been broken for days. Harper knew that, which is why she dared to attack me. Cole, if you're going to believe her lies, 3 kill myself right now to prove my innocence. Enough. Cole snatched the knife from her, his voice low and dangerous. He turned his back to her and looked at me. Starting tomorrow, you're off the crew. A ringing sound exploded in my ears. I gripped the bedsheets, my nails digging into my palms. On what grounds? This is my project. On the grounds that I am the lead investor. He turned his back to me, his voice freezing cold. Your full compensation will be wired to your account. Not a penny less. Sierra raised an eyebrow at me and mouthed silently. You lose. My heart seized. I stumbled out of the bed. The medical ID bracelet on my wrist caught the edge of a photo frame on the nightstand, sending it crashing to the floor. Amidst the sound of shattering glass, I saw the 17-year-old Cole in the yearbook photo, staring at a specific spot. And the blurry girl in the corner wasn't Sierra at all. It was me, my back, intentionally cropped out of the frame. He really did hate me. Otherwise, he wouldn't have purposely signed onto my project just to kick me off and humiliate me. I rubbed my eyes and said softly, I understand. Wait. Sierra suddenly blocked my path. She leaned in close, her breath carrying a sickly, serpentine sweetness. Harper. I remember now. You're that pathetic little loser who used to hide and cry in the locker rooms. The blood in my veins turned to ice. After all this time, I was still terrified of her proximity. The sick joke was that she had just remembered. The depth of memory is always inversely proportional. The abuser brushes it off like dust, while the victim has it, carved into their bones. She stroked her diamond ring like a trophy. The way you're getting kicked off this set right now looks exactly like how you used to run away clutching your backpack. She smiled radiantly. Only this time, you can't just transfer schools. Sierra. I heard my own voice, completely numb. Do you know how long it takes for a person to bleed out from a severed carotid artery? She froze. 3 minutes. I picked up a large, jagged shard of glass from the broken frame on the floor. Want to find out? Sierra stumbled backward in terror. Cole stared at me intensely. Harper, calm down. The glass dug into my palm. The sharp pain kept me lucid. Warm blood slid down my wrist, dripping onto the floor. I took a half step back, letting the blood fall. Don't panic. I looked up at Cole, forcing a twisted smile. I had already made up my mind to accept reality, so why did my heart still hurt so damn much? I'm just scaring her. I stepped around them and walked toward the door. At the threshold, I turned back to look at Sierra. But next time, who knows? As I walked down the stairwell, I heard muffled, suppressed sobbing. I hesitated for a moment, then walked over. A small, petite girl was crying while applying ointment to dark bruises on her arms. Her eyes and nose were completely red. I recognized her. It was Mia, Sierra's young assistant. My eyelashes fluttered. I softened my voice. Do you need help? She jumped, instinctively hiding her arms behind her back. I sighed and held my hand out to her, rubbing it like that will just make it hurt more. Let me. She hesitated for a long time before speaking timidly. Thank you, Ms. Ellis. I took the cotton swab. I used a really good scar removal cream a while ago. Ely text you the link later. She stammered. Did you accidentally hurt yourself before too? Are you sure you did this to yourself by accident? I asked. Yes, I was just clumsy. I smiled and didn't call her out on the lie. Well, I wasn't clumsy. I was bullied. What? She looked shocked, her eyes filling with empathy. Do you know the fastest way to heal? I asked. I tilted my head, gently took her hand, and softly blew cool air over her bruised skin. The tips of her ears turned pink. What is it? I winked at her. Hit them back. Her tightly knit brows relaxed, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Thank you, Harper. I patted the top of her head. By the way, My writing studio is currently short-staffed. I remember you graduated with a degree in literature, right? Do you want to come work for me starting tomorrow? But Miss Fontaine, I can have a word with the director. Her eyes instantly lit up. I'd love to. See you tomorrow, then. See you tomorrow, Harper. I couldn't get an Uber outside the studio lot. My fever was making the streetlights blur into massive halos. I was so dizzy I couldn't stand straight, forced to crouch on the sidewalk and hug my knees. A black Rolls-Royce Cullinan suddenly slammed on its brakes in front of me. I looked up in a daze, meeting Cole's pitch-black eyes. Get in. I don't need. I'm heading to the high school reunion too. It's on the way. Cole's face was like ice. He stepped out of the SUV and pulled the passenger door open. He looked entirely prepared to force me in if I refused. Don't flatter yourself. I just don't want to miss dinner waiting for you to walk there. You don't have to wait for me. I tried to stand up quickly, but a wave of vertigo hit me. Cole caught my arm with lightning reflexes. I violently slapped his hand away, stubbornly glaring up at him. I'm fine. Cole froze for a second, then let out a dark, exasperated laugh. He stepped right into my space, scooped me up from behind, and unceremoniously dumped me into the passenger seat. Don't move. He slammed the door shut so hard the car shook. Getting into the driver's seat, Cole floored the gas pedal as if trying to vent his fury. The aggressive acceleration made my stomach churn. I pressed my lips tightly together and gripped the seatbelt with all 5 fingers. A second later, Cole drastically reduced his speed. I heard him speak, his voice practically grinding through his teeth. You are unbelievable, Harper. I curled up in the leather seat, my eyes drifting to the rearview mirror. Hanging from it was a faded braided red bracelet. Senior year, Cole and I had bought matching bracelets at the Santa Monica Pier Boardwalk. But the day we broke up, I threw mine into a trash can right in front of him, putting on an act of total indifference. Have a nice life. Back then, Cole's eyes were terrifyingly red, but he forced a bitter smile. Harper Ellis, you better pray we never cross paths again. The car smoothly pulling into the underground parking garage snapped me out of my memories. Because of the fever, my reaction time was lagging. Cole suddenly leaned entirely over the center console. His face was barely an inch from mine. I instinctively squeezed my eyes shut. The loud click of the seatbelt unlocking echoed in the quiet cabin. He let out a low, mocking laugh. Thought I was going to kiss you? Is that how you write the scripts in your little novels? Shut up, I muttered in humiliation, turning my face away and pushing the door open. By the time I pushed the doors to the venue open, the party was already in full swing. The music was loud, the lighting dim. When the group of women carrying red wine glasses strutted over to me, I was sitting in a corner, zoning out at the sea of Chanel tweed jackets. The very girls who used to pour glue into my desk and hide razor blades in my gym towels were now polished, glamorous socialites. I heard you became a screenwriter. What's your pen name?
Come on, tell us.
As your old classmates, we definitely want to support you. Yeah, don't be shy. We're practically besties. We've even bared it all together. I found the audacity so ridiculous that I actually laughed out loud. Bared it all.
Right.
They were the ones who had violently stripped my clothes off. Maybe my reaction didn't satisfy them. Chloe Mercer, the ringleader, pretended to slip, splashing a full glass of red wine all over my white dress. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, Madam Writer. I looked down at the glaring red stains spreading across my dress, remembering that snowy night when I was 17. They had locked me in the gym equipment closet, completely humiliated. The only difference was, back then, they had thrown a bucket of industrial red paint on me that wouldn't wash off. The group of girls burst into synchronized, mocking laughter. I stood up in total silence, grabbed a full bottle of red wine off the table, and upended it directly over Chloe's head. Her eyes went wide with pure shock. After a few seconds of stunned silence, she let out a hysterical, ear-piercing scream. Harper Ellis, are you insane? Chloe raised her hand to slap me. I caught her wrist midair with one hand, and with the other, I slapped her hard across the face. Not insane. just perfectly capable of giving you another one if you want it. I raised my hand again, and she immediately stumbled backward on her stilettos. The commotion drew a crowd. What happened? Why is she covered in wine? Are they fighting? I smirked and looked at Chloe. Chloe was just... Before I could finish, Chloe panicked and cut me off. Nothing. I just accidentally knocked over a bottle of wine. She glared at me, her eyes venomous like a snake in the grass. I knew this specific breed of high society women cared about their fake, perfect reputations more than their own lives. Chloe's family wasn't actually wealthy. Back in high school, she only survived in the popular crowd by acting as Sierra's vicious lapdog. I didn't expose her. I just turned and walked to the restroom. The second I locked a stall door, someone grabbed my hair and slammed me backward into the mirror. They had followed me. The pathetic punching bag from high school had just publicly humiliated them. How could their massive egos take it? Chloe pinned my neck against the glass, her voice shaking with rage. How dare you? What makes you think I wouldn't? I shot back. Without Sierra protecting you, you're nothing but a paper tiger. What are you acting so tough for? You're still just a pathetic follower, begging for scraps. I heard she stopped taking her calls. No wonder you're wearing a dress from 2 seasons ago. I looked her dead in the eye and gave a condescending laugh. Without her charity, you're the one who looks pathetic. Chloe's sharp acrylic nails dug into my neck, drawing thin lines of blood. Her perfectly contoured face twisted into something ugly. You must have forgotten that we still have those naked photos of you. What naked photos? Ha, now you want to play dumb. Chloe laughed maniacally. Senior year. Sierra personally stripped your clothes off. Don't remember? We were all there. We took plenty of pictures on our phones. Want us to jog your memory? Chloe waved her hand, and the 3 girls behind her stepped forward, reaching for my dress. This time, no one's coming to save you. My memories instantly ripped me back to that suffocating summer night. I had been backed into a dead-end alleyway by Chloe. The smell of rotting moss mixed with her overpowering, cheap perfume, making my stomach cramp violently. Who gave you permission to lend a pad to that girl from class 2? Chloe's mascara was smudged into black halos. Think you're so great just because you get straight A's? The 3 minions behind her hissed with laughter. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was the 8th missed call from my mom. My brain went into overdrive. Cole is my boyfriend. Yeah, Sterling, the guy from the drama department who fights everyone. Cold sweat broke out on my forehead. My voice was cracking. If you touch me, you're dead. Chloe burst into hysterical laughter. If you're going to lie, at least make it believable. Just as the words left her mouth, dust sprinkled down from the top of the brick wall. Cole vaulted over the wall, landing with a heavy thud. The wind blew back the hood of his black sweatshirt, revealing the silver stud in his cartilage. The breeze he kicked up brushed past my eyelashes, bringing the sharp scent of cedar and tobacco, instantly erasing the alley's rotting stench. Chloe looked at me with pure, sadistic glee. You are so screwed. Cole hates it when people use his name as a shield. I held my breath, my heart hammering against my ribs. Cole's sharp profile was carved in the shadows. He bent down and picked up the hair tie I had dropped. Didn't we agree yesterday that you'd wait for me after school? His deep, pool-like eyes locked onto mine. He wrapped my loose hair around his fingers, running off again. His tone was exasperated, but incredibly fond. Chloe stumbled backward, her eyes wide with total disbelief. Cole turned around, his black headphone wire swaying against his collarbone. Do I need to teach you how to get the hell out of here? The girls who were ready to rip me apart a second ago scattered like terrified mice. My face flushed crimson. I cautiously tried to sidestep away. Cole grabbed my wrist. Using me and then trying to run? He trapped me against his chest, his finger poking lightly against my heart. Girl. Friend. I'm sorry. I just made it up to scare them. I couldn't look him in the eye. I stared blankly as he knelt down, pulled a Band-Aid from his pocket, and placed it over a scrape on my ankle. They won't bother you again. When he stood up, his sweatshirt brushed against the tip of my nose. But as payment, The end of his sentence faded into the night wind, leaving only the deafening sound of my own heartbeat. From now on, you're my scene partner. Chloe was right. This time, Cole wouldn't appear. But it didn't matter. I had already learned how to save myself. Let go of me. I brought my knee up hard into Chloe's thigh. She crashed heavily onto the bathroom tiles, screaming in pain and humiliation. You bitch. Hold her down and shove her head in the toilet. Just as the girls lunged at me, the restroom door was violently kicked open. Everyone froze. Cole stormed in, stripped off his cashmere coat, and wrapped it tightly around me. Which one of you has a death wish? Cole. Haha, we were just messing around. Mr. Sterling, what brings you to? Chloe began to panic, stammering incoherently. Shut up. The hand Cole had wrapped around my shoulders was shaking. He was actively suppressing a terrifying amount of rage.
Who did this?
No one dared to breathe. Chloe collapsed back onto the floor in sheer terror. I asked you a damn question.
Who did this?
My fever seemed to be spiking again. Combined with the physical fight, I was losing my strength. But it didn't matter. I had achieved my goal. I reached up, unclipped the micro camera hidden in my collar, and slipped it into my pocket, confirming it was intact. Then, mustering the last bit of my strength, I pushed Cole away and slowly stood up on my own. I don't need your help. I gripped the edge of the marble sink, dragging myself step by step toward the door. But I only made it 3 steps before my vision went completely black. My body gave out, collapsing toward the floor. Harper. Before I lost consciousness, the last thing I heard was Cole's agonizing, desperate scream. The emergency room. 103.6 degrees. He stared darkly at the thermometer. I threw off the thin hospital blanket, trying to get out of bed. Harper Ellis, what exactly are you trying to prove? Cole shoved me back onto the mattress, his jaw clenched, so tight it looked painful. I turned my head away and stayed silent. I didn't want to talk to an idiot who couldn't tell right from
wrong.
A silent standoff. Emotions fermenting in the heavy air. My eyes quietly turned red. I watched the 4 fluid drip. Right as I counted the 73rd drop, he lit a cigarette. Without a flinch, Cole pressed the burning cherry of the cigarette directly into his own forearm. I violently snapped my head back, but I was too late to stop him. Cole. He looked up at me. When she burned you with a cigarette back then, did it hurt this much? Chloe told me. He leaned over, planting both hands on the edge of the bed on either side of me, trapping me in his shadow. Why didn't you tell me? Harper, what gave you the right to make that decision for me? Cole's voice was gravelly, strained to the absolute breaking point. I curled up on the hospital bed, my fingernails biting crescent moons into my palms. People like you, sitting high up on your pedestals, have absolutely no idea what it feels like to be held down underwater. You will never understand why some people are too terrified to even make a sound when they cry. In the pouring rain when I was 17, Sierra Fontaine had waved my mother's medical chart in my face and sneered. What a coincidence. The director of this hospital is my uncle. Should I show your sick mother some photos of what her lovely daughter does at school? Cole is just a broke public school loser. If I can crush you, I can crush him, too. She had poked her pink manicured finger hard into my chest. I suggest you do exactly what I say. For Cole's sake, and for your mother's. Trash like you doesn't deserve to fight me for him. Cole's atoms apple-bobbed violently. His eyes were bloodshot. Because someone treated me like an idiot and pushed me away. You couldn't even give me the charity of the truth. I am sorry I broke up with you the way I did. But back then, I didn't know you were the heir to the Sterling Empire. And my mom was incredibly sick. The slightest shock could have killed her. I looked up at him, my voice breaking. But you've gotten your revenge now, haven't you? Let's just call it even, okay? Cole, just let me go. In high school, Cole was a rebel. Arrogant, wild, and reckless. A complete 180 from the cold, untouchable Hollywood elite he was now. To rebel against his family forcing him into business, he refused to go to his elite prep school and secretly enrolled in our rundown public high school to pursue acting. When his family found out, they cut off all his credit cards to force him back. Because of that, he lived in squalor. He didn't look like a billionaire heir at all. Afraid his family's fixers would find him, he never once mentioned his background. So, I assumed he was just a struggling, dirt-poor kid working part-time jobs, exactly like me. For people like me, getting into a good college was our only way out of hell. I knew how much Cole had sacrificed for his Juilliard
Dream.
I couldn't drag him down with me. And with my mother's illness on the line, I had absolutely no choice. Cole frowned hard, emphasizing every single word. What revenge? What the hell are you talking about? Huge tears spilled over my eyelashes. You and Sierra are wearing matching engagement rings. You purposely came out of retirement to invest in my project just because you believe her lies. You took her side and helped her bully me right out of my own show. Cole, you are a bastard. Cole froze. He stood up, reached into the inner pocket of his tailored suit, and placed a velvet box on the edge of the bed. Resting quietly inside the dark red velvet were two matching promise rings. The inner bands were engraved with H and C. The metal was worn smooth from years of being touched. I bought these rings for you. I had no idea Sierra secretly bought a knockoff of the same design. The day on set when I saw her wearing it, I took mine off immediately. I never got to give this to you, and I knew you hated matching with other people, so I went to the jeweler to commission an entirely new, custom design. As for kicking you off the crew, my body trembled slightly. I opened my mouth, but my throat was entirely tight. Cole seemed to know exactly what I was going to ask. Sierra's reputation in the industry has always been toxic. When I saw she was directly targeting you, I didn't want you to stay. I can't be by your side 24/7 on a film set. I was terrified she was going to arrange an accident. And as for coming out of retirement, he gave a self-deprecating smile. I was supposed to hate you, but the second I heard your name, I couldn't stop myself from finding you. The moment the director confirmed you were the screenwriter, I had already started planning how I was going to propose to you. Back then, you told me you didn't want a deadbeat with no future. So for the past 10 years, I worked myself to the bone. I took every role, made millions. The first thing I did when I got famous was expose my billionaire background to the press. I wanted to make you regret leaving me. Cole's voice was shaking uncontrollably. But later, I don't know why, but I started thinking I have so much money now. If you saw that, would you come back to me? Even if it was just for the money, I wouldn't care. He pulled me into a crushing hug, holding on to me like a man who had just found a priceless treasure he thought was lost forever. Harper.
Please.
Don't push me away this time. With red-rimmed eyes, I took a deep, shuddering breath. But the gap between us is still there. I don't want to be a parasite feeding off your success. Besides, I have something much more important I need to finish first. The hospital room door was violently thrown open. Sierra rushed in.
Cole.
Why are you in here with her? Get out. Cole shielded me behind his back, his voice dripping with ice. Sierra froze in her tracks, her perfectly winged eyeliner smudged by her tears. She's manipulating you. Cole. She dumped you like garbage, don't you remember? Cole kept me safely behind him and slammed his hand down on the nurse call button.
Security.
There's someone harassing a patient in here. Sierra's eyes widened in absolute shock. Cole, what are you doing? Cole looked at her with pure disgust. Stop acting. She glared at me, suddenly bursting into a shrill laugh. Harper Ellis, you're celebrating too early. Sierra shoved her phone screen directly into my face. On the screen was the #1 trending topic on Twitter, #HarperEllisViolentBully. The thumbnail was a photo of me holding that shard of broken glass. The angle was taken maliciously, making it look like I was attempting to stab her. Sierra's PR team had released a highly edited video, completely reversing the narrative, claiming I was a violent delinquent who terrorized the school. Her caption was blunt. Trash belongs in the dumpster. A looped gif of Sierra drowning in the pool played endlessly, while the live comments flooded in. Expel the bully from Hollywood. Amidst the overwhelming wave of death threats, some internet sleuths dug up the famous third-person perspective of the high school yearbook photo. The girl at the end of Cole's gaze had pale skin and a distinct red birthmark on her neck. It was undeniably me. Cole's face darkened, a terrifyingly violent aura settling into his eyes. Sierra triumphantly raised her voice. You see it now, right, Cole? She's a cheap, lying sociopath. You can't trust a word she says. But the next second, her triumphant smile froze completely. Right in front of her face, Cole pulled out his phone, quote-retweeted Sierra's post from his verified account with tens of millions of followers, and typed 3 words. I am the trash. The entire internet crashed. Sierra shrieked like a maniac. You're destroying your own career, risking your entire future for this. The Sterling family will never allow you to throw everything away for some woman. Cole let out a dark chuckle, lifting his eyes lazily. I run the Sterling family now. And do you want to know what my condition was when I agreed to quit acting and take over the empire? All the color drained from Sierra's face. Her lips trembled. You did it for her? Cole spoke flatly. The Sterling family was nothing more than a tool I used to find her. Other than her, I don't give a damn about anything. The vicious rumors Sierra spread were still multiplying like a virus. Even Cole was catching strays. The entire internet was labeling me a manipulative homewrecker who seduced an A-list actor. OMG no. Cole, wake up. How could you fall for a violent thug? What did Sierra ever do to deserve this? She was bullied so badly. My heart breaks for her. This screenwriter is so calculating, using her own set to seduce the lead actor. God, R.I.P. to my ship. Has the actor lost his damn mind? Why is he defending her? The few rational comments pointing out inconsistencies were instantly downvoted to the bottom of the feed. My publisher called me, her voice heavy with anxiety. Harper, are you absolutely sure you want to publish the bonus chapter right now? You're throwing yourself straight into the meat grinder. The internet is flooded with smear campaigns against you. Even if you post the truth, no one is going to believe you. I stared at the manuscript I had kept buried on my hard drive for 7 years, my tone unwavering. In this bonus chapter, I detailed the brutal, unvarnished truth of why the 2 leads broke up and exposed the true face of the villainess. At the very end of the document, I explicitly stated that the villain was based on Sierra Fontaine. I'm sure. A heavy sigh came through the receiver. Harper, this is corporate suicide. I closed my eyes. My fingers trembled slightly, sending ripples through my coffee cup. Outside the floor-to-ceiling window, a massive LED billboard on the opposite skyscraper was broadcasting an exclusive interview with Sierra. On the screen, the pale, haggard actress looked into the camera with tear-filled eyes. I understand that love is blind, and I'm willing to step aside. But I simply cannot watch Mr. Sterling's life be destroyed by a woman with a documented history of severe bullying. It's just, I'm not afraid of the cyberbullying. I'm just afraid the internet won't hold her accountable. Perfect, I thought. I wanted to feel the fire until the public outrage reached a fever pitch, a point where Sierra couldn't backpedal, even if she tried. The higher you climb, the harder you hit the concrete. All right. I'll push it through moderation and publish it immediately. Within an hour, the bonus chapter crossed 30 million views. The comment section was an absolute war zone. Just posted photos of a tombstone with Harper's face on her tag. Like my comment to boost it. Why doesn't this pathological liar just go jump off a bridge? How dare she write Sierra as the bully? Stay strong, Sierra. We will always support you. You're getting sued for defamation, you psycho. Have fun in court.
My phone rang.
I picked it up while scrolling through the synchronized smear posts from PR farm accounts. Harper, are you okay? I froze for a second. Aren't you supposed to be walking the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival right now? I just wanted to see you. I blinked slowly. The bridge of my nose burned. You saw the news, didn't you?
Yeah.
If you need lawyers, PR, or literally anything else, the Sterling Corporation has the best crisis management team in the world. Down on the street below, Cole was standing in the pouring rain outside my apartment building, but he hadn't moved to come inside. My grip on the mouse tightened. I spoke softly. Cole, I need to do this myself. I have to cut the chains to my past with my own hands before I can finally move forward. Down below, He looked up at my window, the only one glowing with warm light. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed the metallic taste of anxiety in his mouth. In that moment, his gaze felt like a physical kiss against my lips. Okay, whatever you want. His assistant ran up to him, holding an umbrella over his head. Mr. Sterling, please be careful. After a long pause, Cole turned and walked toward the underground garage. Wait, why are we going back? His assistant asked, thoroughly confused. We barely made that flight back from France. And with this scandal blowing up to nuclear levels, are you seriously not going to intervene? Cole stopped in his tracks and spoke simply. I believe in her. I hung up the phone and refreshed the webpage. A new trending notification popped up on the screen. Looking at the familiar face on the video thumbnail, I was stunned. Mia, Sierra's timid little assistant, the same girl who used to hide in the stairwells and cry, was broadcasting live. She had gathered her courage and was publicly accusing Sierra Fontaine of severe workplace abuse and physical assault. Looking directly into the camera lens, she offered a massive, radiant smile. Harper Ellis is a truly wonderful person. She was the one who gave me the courage to finally face the darkness. Because of Mia's live stream, the ironclad narrative surrounding Sierra began to fracture. Public opinion was hurtling toward a brand new climax. The next day, I was sitting in a 24-hour convenience store eating hot chicken noodle soup. The TV above the counter was playing a loop of a statement released by Cole's PR agency. Effective immediately, Mr. Cole Sterling is suspending all acting activities indefinitely to fully cooperate with the police regarding an ongoing investigation into severe high school bullying. The footage cut to him abandoning his front row seat at an awards ceremony and rushing through an airport. So last night, he flew back across the globe just for me. My eyes stung. Must have been the hot sauce in the soup. The screen flashed to paparazzi photos of Cole standing in the rain outside my apartment building. His soaking wet, custom-tailored shirt clung to his torso, clearly outlining the sharp cut of his abs. Yeah, purple is definitely his color, I thought absent-mindedly. I rubbed my eyes, inappropriate thoughts bubbling up in my brain. I was so distracted that I accidentally choked on the hot broth. Just then, the familiar scent of cedar wrapped around me. Cole, wearing a black surgical mask, tapped his knuckles against my plastic soup bowl. The doctor told you to eat soft foods, and this is what you go with? The sleeves of his dress shirt were rolled up, revealing the braided red bracelet tied securely around his elegant wrist. I stared at the faint dark circles under his eyes and sniffled. How much did you have to pay in breach of contract penalties? Canceling all those massive brand endorsements and film shoots out of nowhere, the penalties had to be astronomical. He sat down next to me, rested his chin on his hand, and tilted his head to look at me. He chuckled. I'm completely broke. I guess screenwriter Harper will just have to be my sugar mama from now on. I stirred the soggy noodles in the broth, sending ripples through the plastic bowl. Cole, before I left the apartment, I called the police. I formally pressed charges against Sierra for aggravated assault and bullying. He ruffled my hair, his eyes melting with pure affection. Our Harper did amazing. I suddenly felt an overwhelming urge to cry, babbling like a child. Cole. I spent all my money hiring the most ruthless lawyers I could find. I can't afford to be your sugar mama anymore. Cole pulled me into his chest, gently patting my back like he was soothing a frightened kid. Then, Madam Screenwriter, would you be willing to give me a chance to take care of you instead? Sierra bought her way to the top of the trending list at midnight. It was her final, desperate death throes. Under the hashtag #hardproof of bullying, a grid of 9 photos was exposed to the world/textbooks, a desk drenched in industrial red paint, and the blurry side profile of a teenage girl cowering in a dark equipment closet. Amidst the tsunami of public outrage, a massive breaking news alert hijacked the #1 spot. Plot twist. Harper Ellis presses charges. Sierra Fontaine arrested. I slowly sat down in the interrogation room, looking through the glass at the flawlessly made-up woman. She was casually looking into a compact mirror, touching up her lipstick. The silver handcuffs clinked sharply against her diamond ring. You can't take me down. None of your accusations have hard proof, and public opinion is still on my side. Besides, my dad's lawyers are already pulling strings. I'll be out on bail before midnight. Did you honestly think deleting the school's security footage was a foolproof plan? I slid a USB flash drive across the metal table. Unfortunately for you, Chloe Mercer is much better at calculating her odds than you are. Sierra's fingers jerked violently, smearing a streak of blood-red lipstick across her cheek. That stupid bitch actually sold me out? Rats flee a sinking ship. Human nature. I smiled and handed an iPad to the officer to pass to her. To reduce her own sentencing, Chloe chose to turn herself in. Not only did she confess to every single one of Sierra's crimes, but she handed over the unedited backup videotapes they had recorded back in high school. I knew full well that the hidden camera footage from the reunion bathroom wasn't enough to legally nail Sierra. But it was the perfect leverage to terrify Chloe into flipping on her boss. My strategy from the very beginning was to strike at the weakest link. Sierra suddenly lunged at the glass, only for her handcuffs to violently snap her back. She collapsed into her metal chair, her eyes bloodshot and unhinged. Harper, aren't you terrified I'll leak those naked photos to the press? I looked at her dead in the eye and smirked. So, Miss Fontaine, you're officially admitting on the record to stripping and bullying me? After all these years, your understanding of the law hasn't improved one bit. Her pupils dilated in sheer horror. All the remaining color drained from her face. I stood up, looking down at her from above. Sierra, I told you, the next time I saw you, I'd make sure you were dead and buried. I pushed the heavy doors open and walked out of the precinct. Cole opened his arms to me. He wrapped me tightly in his massive cashmere coat from head to toe. I looked up at him and smiled brightly. Cole, let's go home.
Yeah.
Let's go home. He rested his forehead against mine, his breath searing hot against my skin. On the day Sierra was sentenced to prison, Cole and I co-founded a massive anti-bullying nonprofit foundation. The following year, our film hit theaters. It was an absolute critical and commercial juggernaut. I took home the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and Cole secured his second Best Actor trophy. This time, we stood side by side under the blinding spotlight. Cole looked directly at me from the podium, a wicked smirk playing on his lips. My acceptance speech is just a plea. I hope Ms. Ellis continues to rise to the very top and finally makes an honest man out of me. A year later, my name dominated the top trending spots once again. Only this time, the comment sections were filled with nothing but pure joy and congratulations. After the award ceremony, I started writing a new novel on my laptop. This one was pure fluff. A marriage of convenience, romance. But after deleting and rewriting the same paragraph 5 times, my word count was actually going backward. Frustrated, I rested my chin in my hands and stared blankly at the blinking cursor. Cole, wearing nothing but a plush bathrobe, wrapped his arms around me from behind. His damp hair brushed against the red birthmark on my neck. Screenwriter, need some inspiration? On that snowy night when we were 17, he had pressed his lips to my ear just like this, stealing a line from the play he was practicing. Seal these lips with a kiss, and I shall gladly drink the poison of death without regret. Back then, we had been hiding in the abandoned school auditorium, sharing a single pair of frayed cheap mittens. I was helping him run his audition monologue over and over again. A bead of water slid down Cole's chest, hung for a second on his sharply defined abs, and trailed all the way down his V-line. The warm glow of the floor lamp highlighted the thick veins in his forearms. Every shadow shifting on his body screamed of coiled, predatory tension. I swallowed hard, desperately trying to keep my cool. Mr. Sterling, using a honey trap on me isn't going to work. He chuckled deeply, his arms tightening around my waist. Is that so? Then why is your heart beating out of your chest? In a panic, I randomly clicked open an old document folder and aggressively started mashing the keyboard. I have to meet my daily word count. Stop trying to ruin my focus. Cole let out a low, dark laugh. Reading over my shoulder, he murmured, His hand slipped under the hem of her dress, ruthlessly molding the soft curves of her dash. I suddenly realized I had clicked open my secret stash of extremely spicy romance drafts. "Stop reading it." Burning with absolute mortification, I threw my hands up trying to cover his eyes. Cole caught both my wrists effortlessly in one hand and pinned me back against the desk. Our eyes locked. His voice dropped a full octave, raw and raspy. "Screenwriter Harper, I don't quite understand the blocking in this scene. Care to teach me?" The end.